Ash, how are you?
Good, Pino. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thanks for chatting with me. Ash, you are a teacher at Seneca College.
I am. I've been there for quite some time, and it's Seneca is actually a polytechnic now, so we're in between. We offer degrees. We're close to offering masters at some point,
Yeah.
but we offer BComs, good high
Okay.
quality programming that we offer in all sorts of areas, science and in business.
How long you been there for?
Seneca specifically, I think 24 years. Would you believe it? But in the
Wow.
teaching, yeah, I've been there probably close to since 1996. I'll be honest with you. I think you were born there, Pino, but I started teaching at that point. And I'll tell you the story. When I was
Yeah.
at U of T,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a business person, right? I did a year of science, said, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So I went into the business side of things, but there's no specific thing that I could associate with. I knew it wasn't going to be accounting. I knew it wasn't going to be operations and marketing. Maybe I just was too shy. And then along comes this little known thing. It wasn't really HR then. It was just I ended up taking a few courses on industrial relations.
Yeah.
And I kind of caught the bug. And so my dream, was simply to just as soon as I graduate, work at the corner of King Street and Bay Street. That's it. Serve coffee. I don't care. Put on a
Yeah.
suit. And
Yeah.
so luckily a law firm, a very large 150-year-old law firm,
Yeah.
had an opening for some sort of associate junior. And I
Yeah.
went in and it happened to be the HR department. I had absolutely no clue, right? Seven, eight
Wow.
people.
Yeah.
And they asked me to implement some things that they didn't know how to do. And I kind of didn't either,
Yeah.
do one step better than they did. So I was there for a year and a half. And then, so I caught the bug. I loved HR, all aspects of it, because it's all data driven, right? A
Yeah.
lot of analysis.
Yeah.
And then I got picked up by a consulting company, and that was okay for about a year, year and a half, a lot of
Yeah.
flying on. But at the same time, a college asked me, "Do you want to teach part time?" I go, "Okay."
Yeah.
But it was not. I thought it was night. Pick up a night class, just dabble
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was a day, and it was a grad program. So I just
Oh.
graduated. People were, just graduated as well. So I was about the same age, and
Yeah.
saying, that's I decided that's all I wanted to do was just to teach. So I do logistics, supply chain. I do a lot of business stuff, but HR analytics is my focus. And
Yeah.
although you do consult on the side, that's because we have lots of time available. So we do a lot
Yeah.
of consulting, and that brings the stories from the client back to the classroom and vice versa.
So how
And
much
so
how much
in
you
like 60 seconds, that was my story.
what
Sorry.
courses in HR do you teach?
So I do HR analytics, which is
Yeah.
the HRIS course. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll do talent management in the summer when they ask me. I do a technology enhanced learning and development,
Yeah.
which is an awesome course.
Yeah.
It's a high end learning and development course. I've
Yeah.
done everything. I've done compensation. I've done intro. I can do OB, pretty much everything except accounting. I won't do accounting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ash, everyone I speak to in the HR field, a lot of people, a lot of the students know you, right? A lot of them graduate from Seneca because it's a popular program, and then I speak to a lot of people. A lot of people know you, so you're well recognized in the HR community.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you've been doing it for such a long time, right?
Yeah. Well, we graduated a lot of people, and
Yeah.
along the way, we started the HR Network Society. So any of your
Yeah.
viewers are well be a part of that. You can
Yeah.
put up my email later. And the HR Network Society just grew to 4, 5, 6,000
What
people,
is the HR now? What
more
is it?
senior HR people, more junior. Yeah, just an informal network where I just feed names into it, if you wish, and then so some of my junior people become managers and vice presidents, and when they want to hire, they send me jobs, and then I
Ah,
filter them back through my people, and then
okay.
they apply and they back and forth. Now the community's growing. We
Yeah.
kind of slowed down since pandemic,
Yeah.
but we usually write pieces of thought pieces. We put Harvard Business Review articles, TED Talks.
Yeah.
I could even put this interview or some. Actually, I'm going to start putting some of your YouTube shows on there as well when I
Yeah.
resurrect the whole society. But it's pretty strong. It's an informal network. It
Yeah.
served its purpose quite well for about 10, 15 years.
But
I
I used
think
to
we'll
get
bring
your
it back
emails. I'm
soon.
not getting those emails anymore. Are you still sending them out?
Once in a while. It used to be a
Yeah.
weekly thing, remember?
Yeah, I
And
remember.
but pandemic kind of just shut that down.
Yeah.
uh, for whatever reason. And then so now I'm seriously thinking of just bringing it back on a monthly format.
Yeah.
It's completely informal. You choose to be on it,
Yeah.
you receive an email.
Yeah.
And if it helps you in any way, it helps you. And the idea is you give back to the network when you can
Yeah.
and how you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it just so weekly? So you're just sending out job like HR job opportunities to your network? Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely. Not just HR, there's a supply chain global
Oh,
logistics network for my supply chain logistics people.
yeah,
If there's a human, and we have a lot of highly qualified people that we
yeah,
graduate, that I know,
yeah,
and
of
we have a lot of businesses out there who just don't know that person exists. Why not put them together, right?
course.
It
Yeah,
saves them time, saves resources,
yeah,
and they, 99% of the time they end up getting high quality people that they didn't know about.
yeah. No, no, I
And
totally
so it's just
agree.
staffing. It's not an agency per se. It's more of like
Yeah,
just put you in touch with people kind of thing.
you're just
And
helping out. You're just helping out people. You're just making
exactly.
people
And we
aware
don't,
what's jobs are out there. Okay.
yeah, there's no money exchange. I think what we used to do once a year is pick a charity and just raise some funds around it.
Yeah,
We haven't done in 5 years, but we'll see
yeah,
what in the next few months we'll just start it up again.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Ash, are you guys, I know during the pandemic, students went back home, everything was online, right? Are you guys hybrid now? Are you back in school 100%? What does that look like?
Yeah, so during pandemic and the confusion, everything went online. Campuses
Yeah,
are completely shut down, right?
yeah,
Then when it became safer, the masking protocol, the everything like that, the vaccination, so on, kicked in.
yeah,
And then we went to a model where to get back up to capacity, you're either in a classroom or you're hybrid. Hybrid means you're in a classroom, but not the full 3 hour lecture,
yeah,
which is the norm now. Okay.
yeah,
If it's flexible, it means the student has a choice of coming into class or doing it from live video like we are here.
yeah.
But I would still have to be in the class. And then there's a purely online. So we have very little purely online now.
Okay.
This doesn't work with the subject matter,
Yeah.
right? So we've kind of managed, and I guess every institution out there in Canada figured out that we can make things much more efficient. But on the most part, we are either in a classroom or we offer the student to come to a classroom.
Okay. What do students want?
I
You
prefer
said
my classroom. Yeah,
you prefer on in class.
I love my classroom. I'm an actor. That's my stage. Online is okay, but when you give
Yeah.
people a choice of just not coming,
Yeah.
then they don't come.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can binge watch, 6 lectures of
Yeah.
videos a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a class, you're engaged. We can come up with
Yeah.
ideas. We can do things
Yeah.
that otherwise you cannot on a
I
Zoom meeting,
so
for
so
example.
Ash, candidates that I work with now, depending on demographic, a lot of them, the younger demographic wants the hybrid. They want to work from home. The older demographic, they believe in being on site. I'm older, so I believe in working on site.
Yep,
You can collaborate, you
yep,
can share ideas.
yep.
Like it's for me, it's better to be on site, right? But the younger generation is
Yeah.
is pro hybrid, pro remote, right? So
I
isolate themselves, sit at home, and work in the office all day, right? So
I totally agree with you. It's called communities of collaborative practice. If you're not face to face, you can't create the same energy, the
I
synergy that you otherwise would.
I agree. I agree. But
Yeah,
candidates say, but I don't want to sit in hour traffic. I don't want to commute. I would
yeah,
rather spend that time, with my kids. I get it. I see that argument, but
yeah.
there's nothing that beats face-to-face communication, right? Sitting at the table, having a conversation with someone, having a dialogue with someone. You can't beat that, right? So,
Agree 100%.
right. But student, what are you seeing? Do students prefer, or is it a combination of both, or what are students saying?
So, so I only teach graduate students, which would
Ah,
be in the 22 to 25 year demographic. We
yeah,
get the occasional person kicking over 30.
yeah,
They do, you're right, they do prefer the in class. But when you have a job, we're allowing people to have full time. We really shouldn't have a full time job and be a full time student.
yeah,
But when you do, and then you mix in international students who feel they have to work, then of course it becomes more attractive to not come to class and do it online.
yeah.
But online means now I'm not going to be online. I'm just going to watch your recording, which at the end of the week, you might just fast forward one of the recordings, which isn't right. So it's all over
Yeah.
the place. And I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting it's a good or bad thing right now. I
Yeah.
think the results will come in sooner or later that, you learn more when you're in a classroom,
I
physical brick and mortar.
yeah, I agree, right? So elementary schools are 100% in class, right? Why are they
Yeah.
doing, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's an interesting debate, right?
Yeah. It's a
Um,
socialization aspect too, right?
let's say that again.
Socialization is very
Yeah,
important.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Do you give advice to students upon graduation? They must ask you, "Hey, Ash, I'm looking for a job in HR. Any tips, any things you can share with me?" Do you get into that with them?
Of course, in pretty much every program that I teach in, towards the end, you get a lot of. I just got 5 emails this morning,
Yeah,
and one thing is I'm careful not to give a guarantee type of an approach. Yeah, yeah, don't worry. It's like,
yeah,
well, this is what you can do to become better than the other person.
yeah,
And I say you want to be the one brand out of 100 that stands out.
yeah,
I do give advice, but what I do now, Pino, is I also, well, you did a webinar for me a few
yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah,
People listen to experts like you as well,
yeah,
but I create pathways. So rather than answering the same question 50 times, I do emails that articulate the steps you have to undertake to become better, a better brand.
yeah,
So, for example, Pino, if you come to me and say, I want a job in HR, I kind of look
yeah,
at you funny.
yeah,
I go, okay, but what part of HR
yeah,
interests you? Is it talent management, talent
yeah.
acquisition? Is it
Compensation.
compensation, benefits, training,
Yeah,
health and safety?
yeah,
And based on that, I create these little pathways, and pathways don't have to cost you anything. Education does not have to cost you.
yeah,
It's just we love the piece of paper, of course, right?
yeah,
But to get to a certain point, there's certain things you could do that you shouldn't have to figure out. I figure it out for you and I give it to you.
yeah,
So if anybody wants a pathway, I'll send you one of my pathways. I only have a few
yeah,
for learning development. I have one for HRIS, health and safety, and benefits.
yeah,
But I develop more later on, like talent acquisition's the next one I'm working on, talent
yeah,
management.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I mean, and then we just do some informal type of career pathway online sessions for people who want to come,
yeah,
and people are eager.
yeah,
But I tell them one thing important is you can do everything on paper you like.
yeah.
Look great on paper, but at the end, if you're not getting the job, it's you. I'm very blunt with this. I go, it's you. Figure out you, the personality.
Okay, tell me
And
more
you
about that. When you say it's you, what do you mean by that?
so if you look great on paper,
Yeah,
strong on paper, and you can't
yeah,
back up what's on that paper, it's
yeah,
you, right? I can
yeah.
write PhD on my thing, but if I can't speak PhD, I'm not that guy. I'm not hireable.
But Ash, I'll say this. Oftentimes it's not then. There's so many unconscious bias hiring managers have towards people and like subtle details, and then like great candidates aren't getting jobs because of someone's opinion or someone's thought of a
It's
candidate,
that
right?
it's
So,
that too.
right?
You're absolutely right. It's that too. But you know what?
It's
If I sent you somebody you cannot stereotype against, a great candidate, but they
yeah,
blew the interview, it's them.
yeah,
There's no way you
yeah.
beat. I mean,
There's candidates
I could,
they go to the interviews, they're not prepared, right? They're not
yeah,
ready.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about there,
yeah, yeah.
right? So we take the approach of what we call compensable factors.
Okay.
Number one, if you want to earn money, you have to get hired.
Yep,
The more factors that you bring in to get hired, you earn more money.
yep,
So every little thing about you, and we start with the technicals, your actual education. I'll give you an example. If you want an HR job and
yep,
you don't know Excel, your
yep,
resume's toast. Complete. Then I add a layer. If you don't know Tableau, if you don't know pivots, then if you don't know the Occupational Health and Safety Act or elements of it,
yep,
the more of those you bring into your toolbox, the more compensable you become. And compensable starts with the hire.
yep,
But a big part of it is the fundamental side, is your presentation, your communication.
yep,
So if you can't speak confidently, you can
yep,
learn how to do that,
yep,
right?
yep,
Nobody's saying go out and get a master's or PhD, but if you can't communicate properly, which you can
yep,
learn, it's you. You can learn that. People
yep.
don't bother necessarily fixing that.
Okay. All good points. So Ash, the labor market right now is flooded. There's so many candidates, fighting for these limited jobs. How do they stand out? Like, how do they get? No, and I want to hear your thoughts, opinions. How do they stand out from employers? Because employers right now, I was speaking to someone yesterday. She got 300 resumes for one job posting.
Yeah.
So,
There's
so how does one stand out?
so if this is specific to HR, you're right. So there's a market. Let's say we have 50,000 HR people in Canada, right?
Yeah,
And a whole batch are about to retire. Doesn't mean that we have to have 50,000 HR people ready to take over, because there's more. There's way
yeah,
more. Okay? There's a ratio of, like you said, 1 to 300 maybe, right?
okay,
But if I come in and I'm competing with 300 people,
yeah,
I ask myself, what is it that organization cannot do without? And what are the hot things today? So, for example, if I have knowledge of payroll, even though that's not the job I want, I'm
yeah,
going to go to HR and say, look, I know a bit about payroll. Well, I learned it somehow.
yeah,
Uh, Now the employer says, hey, cool, this person stands out more than 299 other people because one day I just might ask them, I need them to just take over payroll for a week.
yeah,
They're aware of joint health and safety committees.
Yeah.
They're aware of the basics of the Employment Standards Act. They know how to
Mhm.
navigate the law. They don't have to be a lawyer. That doesn't cost you anything to learn.
Yeah.
Then from the technology side, I'm aware of Taleo. How do you become aware of Taleo short of taking my class? Plenty of videos. Sometimes
Yeah.
just watch the video so in your
Everything's
mind
online
you
now.
know what it looks like.
Yeah, everything's online now.
SAP, Workday, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yeah.
Excel is that one pet peeve. Everybody needs to have it. But then, Pino, what's the next latest, greatest thing? It's called data visualization.
Mm.
Employers want it. It's how you make the data come alive using graphics. If you know employers want it, they don't know it yet, give it to them. Give them what
Yeah.
they want today.
Yeah.
If you think every employer there wants you to be knowledgeable in Indigenous affairs, take a course in Indigenous. I'll
Yeah.
send you one for free.
Yeah.
University of Alberta, Indigenous Canada.
Yeah.
That's the latest thing. What's the other latest thing, Pino, to me today? Equity, diversity, inclusion.
Yeah. Another hot
I'll
topic.
send you a free course on that. Learn it because during an interview, they ask you a general question about it and you can't speak to it. You are not that one person out of 300. So
Mm.
why can't you be the one out of 300? What do employers want today? It's not typing, right? That's you're maybe AI. And I know that's a topic you're going to bring up, but even
Yeah. AI
basic
is
knowledge
hot.
of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
You don't have to know AI. That's not, you're not a programmer. Or what's the other one, Pino? Blockchain. You heard of blockchain?
Yeah.
People have heard of blockchain.
Yeah.
An employer might ask, how would you leverage blockchain technology? Well, they might not. But if you're the only one out of 300 people who gets it,
Yeah.
you became that star candidate. Give
Mm.
employers everything they want and two
Yeah.
levels
Okay. So your top
because
must
now
have.
I'm planning you for the future.
Okay. So Excel.
Excel is an absolute must.
Okay. What else?
Well, then we add on in terms of technology is knowledge of HRIS,
Yeah.
could be Workday, could be SAP. I
Yeah.
like to throw pivots in there, so it's
Yeah.
part of Excel.
Yeah.
Uh, and I could share my free tutorials with anybody. Okay, I have a website you can share with anybody.
Yeah.
And if you take even just 20 minutes a week over 5 weeks just to learn this on your own, it didn't cost you a penny.
Yeah.
But now you're telling the world, I know it, and your employer wants you to have it. I'm now giving you the opportunity to hire me for today,
Yeah.
and I'm ready for the next 5 years as well.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. What
Yeah.
are those magic things? So in supply chain, I could tell you all sorts of things. If you don't have knowledge of drone transportation and supply chain,
Yeah.
you're behind, right? So 1 out of 300 people are going to have knowledge of it.
Okay.
Just as an example.
Yeah.
And that's constantly evolving. Who knows what year the latest, greatest thing will be. So
Yeah.
employers don't necessarily think they're going to use it today. They just want somebody who knows it today.
So what if someone says to you,
Right.
because I made a video about this last week, no, I don't have that, but I'm a quick learner. What's your
And
thoughts
that's
on a
fine. So
response?
you're a quick learner. I refer to what we call check marks. If I look at a resume, the more
Yeah.
check marks you get for a point, I add up the check marks. That's your score.
Right.
On a system like Taleo that looks for all your credentials,
Yeah.
it's an actual score they'll give you.
Yeah.
So if you say, but I'm a quick learner,
Yeah.
then there has to be a way to prove that, to demonstrate it, to validate it. I'm a
Yeah.
quick learner,
We all are.
but in 5 years, I'll learn French. Give me 5 years, I'll learn French. But quick
Yeah.
learner means within a month, you'll learn French.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if that's important to me,
Yeah.
then I'll hire you for that purpose. But
Yeah.
most interview question scoring sheets don't have fast learner as a checkable item. We
No,
expect you can learn.
Ash, when I speak to students, I speak to so many candidates and I ask them, do you have experience, health and safety? No, I don't have it, but I'm a quick learner. Okay, I don't want to hear that. So that's the last thing you should say. I think you should say, no, I don't have experience with that, but it's something I'd like to learn and I'm open to and open willing to learning that. So I think that's a better response. It's a better choice of words.
Exactly, Pino, and that's
Right?
preparedness. When you prepare to that level for an interview,
Yeah.
so what I would say to that is, well, as a recruiter, I would say, well, why don't you know the basic of health and safety? I'm asking you basic questions,
Yeah.
and you must have learned it. If you want to survive in HR, you need to
Yeah.
know at least those basics. But
Yeah.
for you to say, I don't know anything about, let's say, health and safety,
Yeah.
but I can learn it, you're giving me an indication that you're willing.
Yeah.
Whereas now, 298 other people won't say that. They'll just say, I don't know. Or they'll make up an answer. You've heard made up answers, right?
Oh,
So basics of the profession you have to have. Now, if I ask you, okay, which law covers minimum wage, and you don't know Employment Standards Act, I don't need you to learn that tomorrow. I need you to know that today.
Yeah.
But if I ask you, so how does artificial intelligence impact HR? Or how would you leverage it? If you say, I don't know the answer right now, but I can definitely give me 2 days, write your report and email it back to you. That
Yeah.
shows that you're ready to do it. That's not an answer I need from you today. However, Pino,
Yeah.
if you're one out of 300 people who does answer that because you prepared,
Yeah.
good, awesome. That's the guy I want to hire.
It's your knowledge, your thought process, it's how you come to the answer, right? Okay, I understand you may not know it, but what are you going to do to get the answer,
Exactly.
right?
It's called an articulate answer. Is how did you answer it? And then we, as interviewers, of course, we know how to, to catch people are BSing, right? We're
Yeah.
just fabricating things. A lot of people over prepare for interviews. It is so obvious. There's so many questions on the internet with answers to them. It's like we know where you read that, okay?
Right. I spoke to Johan. You should connect with him, but he said he coaches candidates that are looking for work, and he says, like I coach candidates, and they have 50, like they prepare 50 questions, potential questions that they may be asked.
Yeah,
And I go, you guys are overdoing it. You don't need to prepare that much, right?
yeah,
Like just have the basics, have a good foundation, but just at the
yeah,
end of the day, be yourself, and showcase your ability and your willingness to learn, right?
exactly.
That's I
Let me
think
tell
what
you, a good word of advice is you don't need to know everything about your profession.
no,
You cannot. You need to know a little bit about everything about your
that's
profession
it.
and know where to find the rest quickly. These are what we
Yeah,
call talking points.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like I could ask you about training and development, for example.
yeah.
That's not your thing. You haven't
No,
learned it, but there's at least 2 or 3 talking points because you're developing learning right now
yeah,
that you can come up with, and that shows intelligence. I'm not going to
yeah,
trick you by asking you an obscure question. What's the element? What's the best LMS used for a multi-port
yeah,
training system? What? Who cares? We
yeah,
figure that out tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all good points. Ash, what about if I say to you, okay, you have those skills, but you have to fit into our company culture, and on top of that, you have to be likable. I have to like you. I have to see you working well. Can you work well within our team? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, absolutely. So that's what we call the fundamental side of the job. Technicals are the minimals we need.
Yeah,
Anyone can learn those. Those are paper based.
yeah,
But the fundamentals I'm looking for, and I'm just going to blunt out say it. If I can't understand you, I can't work with you. So take voice intonation lessons. I'm not
communication
suggesting
skills.
if you have an accent, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just
Yeah,
saying learn to project your voice, be confident about it. But then I'm looking for that personality.
yeah,
In an interview, it's very tough, by the way, and it's almost borderline. We're not really allowed to kind of check too much into that because it
yeah,
could have ethnic biases.
yeah,
But if you indicate the kind of personality where it's just me, I'll do it all on my own,
yeah,
you might not be that team player. But if you're
yeah,
in payroll, I have no
yeah,
problem with it. I'm not
yeah,
going to bother you. But
yeah,
there are employment tests that we can do that can kind of prove to us
yeah,
that you can work in a team environment.
yeah,
And during the interview, we can ask behavioral questions,
yeah,
certain situational behavioral questions that, based on your answer, it shows that you're a diplomat. It shows that you're willing to work on your own. And I respect the answer that says, no, listen, I'll get the job done by myself and I will involve people as needed every
yeah,
time. That's
yeah,
the answer I want.
yeah. You'd prefer someone to say that.
And that's one of the toughest ones. We all know people we hire, they look like great team players. As soon as they're on board, nothing.
Yeah, no, I
We
agree.
yeah.
Well, Ash, what's your opinion on like McQuaig testing, any sort of predictive index testing? What's your thoughts on that? Are they effective?
You know what? They could be. Human Rights Code, of course, in Ontario and throughout the country suggests you can't use those as a major portion of your decision.
No, part
But
of
if
it.
it very small part, if
Yeah,
you let's say you come down to 5 equally good candidates,
yeah,
5 people that you would offer a job to,
yeah,
that sort of an assessment could be the tiebreaker.
yeah,
However, models that use Venn style modeling, where they see how much of a fit are you independently, how much of a fit are you with the organization, and as long as there's some commonality, we can
yeah,
justify those, but it can't be weighted so heavy that it is a pretty big determinant of the higher decision. There's all sorts
yeah,
of human rightsy stuff going on there.
yeah,
Depending on the assessment you use, how strong, how valid psychometrics on that. It's a very tough
yeah,
thing. I teach it. I don't recommend it.
yeah.
Yeah, we use it. They're quite expensive as well.
They're pricey. They are pricey. there's some companies that use it exclusively. There's one client that I work with that, as part of the recruitment process, everyone gets this test, right? And then the offer is extended dependent on how you did on that test. They won't hire you unless you finish that test. And it's 20
Yeah,
minutes. There's
that's
60 questions, right? But
yeah, and it's okay, I guess. I would not, unless you want problems because
yeah,
look, there's a lot of if you Google and you go on the internet, there's a lot of these types of tests, even some
yeah,
free,
yeah,
and never will it actually predict you. You yourself will shake your head. Now
yeah,
the question is, when those were developed,
yeah,
it's fine, but they haven't kept up with three things. One is the change in ethnicity
yeah,
of our workforce. The
yeah,
second is generations, which we refer to different ages and how we perceive work.
yeah.
And the third is mental health.
Mm,
Uh, those three things we are always evolving, and you have to bring all three of those items into context.
mm.
That's what context is. Uh, and if these tests have not kept up with that, they're pretty much creating a systematic set of biases that even you don't know you're experiencing or exercising.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, those tests are not, I would never actually get into the business of doing those tests myself.
So you're not in favor of those predictive index tests?
No,
Ah,
unless I
interesting.
hire a team of my own psychometrists
Yeah,
in person will administer a lot of this. I don't
yeah,
think it's a good idea at all.
yeah,
Except, like I said, if you have 5 good people,
yeah,
then those tests are a good thing to use as
yeah,
a final determinant, but a very small portion.
yeah. I want to go back communications, because I interviewed a candidate last week and she was fantastic. Yeah, she checked off a lot of the boxes, but I just couldn't understand what she was saying. Like I just couldn't. She had to I had to constantly repeat my question. And so communication skills do play a big part in whether you're going to get the job or not. It's critical, right? If you're working with leaders
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
peers, if they can't understand what you're saying, then I'm sorry, it's I'm going to be blunt too. You're not going to get the job.
No, exactly. And the thing is, it's not that you're being biased on that way. You're not saying, well, you have a thick accent or that your speech is too
No,
fast, whatever. And we
no,
do, as trained people, we do adjust for the anxiety or the nervousness
yeah,
during an interview. A lot of us talk fast, a lot of
yeah,
us talk slow.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, if I'm struggling to understand what you're saying,
yeah,
then that becomes problematic for many jobs. Now, if I'm going to put you in payroll,
yeah.
that's not
Then
necessarily public facing, and then I
yes,
could overcome it
yeah,
because you're strong on everything else.
yeah,
But one thing I'll tell you, Pino, is ask yourself, was that little thing coachable? Was the way the person speaks coachable? Was it trainable? And did this person take the time to train themselves to speak? Because everybody can. There are courses you can take.
of
There's
course,
Toastmasters you can go to. There's
yeah,
software you can use
yeah,
to become a better speaker. And I don't mean the language. I'm talking about your voice intonation, how you project your voice.
yeah,
Some jobs require it. Your job certainly. My job, I'm in a classroom.
yeah.
Would you ever take a course with the prof that you every other word you can't understand? No,
No,
you would
not at
not.
all.
I can't discriminate on the basis of your speech, but I can on the basis of can I understand you? That's communication. So, Pino, I have to tell you though, then every employer has to make communication a part of their job description.
Well, the right
Just to
excellent
say,
communication skills required.
yeah, or maybe even more specific, in a job posting to say clear communication, so that
Yes.
at least we can interview it,
But then what
right?
does clear communication mean to you? What does that mean to me? Right?
I'll write it down in my rubric. You see, that's the whole trick. Your lawyers
Yeah.
will love you for this. When you write it down in your scoring sheet or your rubric that this is what I'm going to assess,
Yeah.
the candidate has to then figure out, the applicant, what does that mean to me? And what am I
Yeah.
going to give to my employer?
Yeah.
Because as an employer, you can't go around explaining to everybody who's going to apply what you're looking for, what it means. They should know. These
Yeah.
are industry standards,
Yeah.
right? So if
Yep.
I'm looking for somebody who's health and salt, I don't have to explain to you in my job posting what that is. I
Yeah.
expect you to know. So I
Yep.
think communication abilities, if you just say communication skills, it's fine.
Yeah.
Verbal communication skills,
Written.
clarity, I would put those. And then during my interviews, I'm asking everybody the same type of question
Yeah.
or scoring the same way.
Yeah.
Nobody can come to me and say, well, you're picking on me. And it's legitimate because
Yeah.
remember, we have an organization to run.
Yeah.
And any public facing or employee facing type of role,
Yeah.
communication is important within reason. I mean, if there's a
Yeah.
guy who, within a month or so will pick up on the language, we can help coach and they're really strong on everything else.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good.
Yeah.
But if they're
Okay.
not strong on anything else, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Ashley, I'm gonna let you go. I'm just gonna wrap up the call. So key takeaways from this call. Employers are looking for soft skills. We talked soft skills, right? Which include
Well, so soft skills will be your personality, your communication,
yeah,
things like that. Your teamwork ability, your ethics, soft skill, right? Your
yeah,
ethical standards,
yeah,
and also your emotional intelligence. There's ways we can measure that
yeah,
by giving all sorts of hypothetical situations to you.
yeah.
And then the other side is, of course, your hard skills, or what I call technical.
Technical skills, yeah,
And Excel, bottom line. I'm sorry, it's like this. You can breathe, and then Excel.
yeah.
Then everything else. Because if you
You
don't know Excel, you're
yeah,
not in my world.
yeah. You
It's
talk a
not.
lot about Excel. It's important.
It is, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's not because I'm a tech geek, because I'm not. It's
yeah,
just I know.
yeah,
Because I'm a data guy, and if you can't
yeah,
validate anything in HR, if you don't
yeah,
have data, well,
yeah,
how are you going to manage the data using Excel? Period.
yeah.
That's the world we live in.
Ash,
The
excellent
thing
points.
you didn't ask me about AI.
Oh, is AI, last question, I'm gonna let you go. Is AI gonna eliminate HR in the future?
Not if you don't let it.
Mm.
Yeah. Can it? No. Not in the next 10 years. It cannot. It doesn't know enough.
There are some people that believe that AI will ultimately eliminate HR.
Oh, sure, sure. 20 years from now, maybe. I doubt it. But
Yeah,
remember, if the human doesn't allow it, then it won't happen.
yeah,
And the thing is, it's not AI is not smart enough. And because HR is not pumping in enough sentiments at this point.
yeah.
And until we get to that critical mass, no matter what you hear about all these TV shows, it's all hype and it's all spin.
I agree.
There are parts of HR that benefit from AI greatly.
Yeah,
But remember, AI is garbage in, garbage out. I could teach AI to be as biased as possible or
yeah,
not so biased,
yeah,
uh, but it doesn't make that judgment call the way a human would. So
yeah,
can low-level HR jobs be replaced by AI? Well, they've already been replaced by technology,
yeah,
but that's resulted in more HR jobs, Pino. The
yeah.
people who
Creates other
can
jobs.
harness the power of the data, the
Yeah,
information, right?
yeah,
And I don't think all HR jobs can ever be replaced by AI. Yeah,
yeah,
only because we won't allow it.
yeah. I agree. Ash, I'm gonna let you go. If anyone's watching this video and they want to connect with you, are you active on LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah, Ash Patel, just Ash Patel Seneca. How's that? Or HR. And if you Google that, you'll find me.
Done.
Connect with me, no problem. I'll share all my resources with you.
Awesome. Ash, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Cheers.